But even though it's an Android, like it's not much cheaper than iPhone. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna. I'll have to look at their return policy. I don't know if I'm gonna buy that phone just to make a YouTube video about it. I don't think I'm gonna get the return on the investment.
All right, welcome to the latest episode of Game Day Glare. I'm Lance. I'm with E. This is the podcast for sports videographers. How you doing, E?
Very good. Now I had some fires to put out 5 seconds ago, but now I'm good.
That's it. He's a busy man. He's a busy man. Hey, I saw your clip, by the way, with the zoom on the iPhone 17 on
Yes.
Beyond the Game.
This
Yeah. So give me a little context on how that how do you find it and that zoom shot was pretty crazy. Like you were at a PWHL game, you zoomed all the way into the player entrance, and then you were at the other end of the rink. So
exactly. Well, you got to keep things in perspective. Like it's not like a tight shot. Like but still, when you look at where I was, which is literally the other end of the arena, because they're at, like let's say southwest corner, I'm at the northeast corner, so we're total opposites, and I was able to get like a pretty good shot from, like, obviously it's not the sharpest image in the world. It's not like I'm zooming in with a 70 to 200 millimeter lens, but it is, for a phone, it's very impressive. And everyone I've talked to so far, uh, that have seen my video, well, like, yeah, like I've seen people, or I've used it at games, like parents, like, and people next to me would like, wow, like your zoom is really, like, you're getting some really nice close-ups. Like everyone's impressed with the close-up shots that you can get with that phone. So the 8x zoom is definitely, as far as sports videography is concerned, like, is really like the thing that is a bit of a game changer, especially for like parents and people who want to film sports but don't have known real intention of doing it professionally. They just want to do it casually for fun or for their kids or whatever, but want the footage to still look quite decent. So it's getting very interesting. But in saying that, I did get a few messages from you, because with these things, there's always the Android people that
yeah.
come out of the
Well,
woodwork angry.
even me, do I need to upgrade my 16 Pro to a 17 Pro? Like if it's just that one camera they added, nothing else really.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's one of those things. I tend to go. I went from X, which is 10, to 14, and from 14 to 17. Um, Honestly, if it wasn't for the YouTube, because I knew, like, if I get the new phone, I knew I'd get the new phone when it would be worth it making a YouTube video about it. That was kind of my excuse. So that's why I did it, because of the camera. But I probably would have waited another year anyway. So otherwise, I mean, but 16 to 17, like, unless you're doing a lot of phone photography or videography, I probably wouldn't. But yeah, it just depends on what you use your phone for, I guess.
Did you shoot that clip with the log format that they have, or no, just regular?
That particular one, though, when in the video I did test the log format, which I thought like definitely gives you like a better, because how like phone footage usually is very they try to make it look sharper by adding a lot of detail and contrast and things like that, and it's a bit too much sometimes, especially if there's like a lot of, if it's just like a close up, one person kind of close to the camera, like, it looks good. But when there's like a lot of people in the shot, it looks good on the phone, but it looks very weird on the bigger screen. So by filming in log, you can avoid that and control the contrast much better. But it's not, even though when they say like I don't know if they say it's 10-bit or not. Well, it's ProRes.
It's supposed to be
Well,
10-bit, yeah.
yeah, but I felt like the when you're playing with the color correction, like, you can tell like there's bending, like when you're looking at your at your scope, like, and you see like rows that when you're moving the exposure or the shadows, like I can see lines happening in the scope. So it's like that's that's not a good indication of a lot of data in every in your image anyway. So I don't want to get too technical because I'll say something wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it doesn't seem to me like it's the highest quality. But but if you don't have to do too much correction, like let's put it that way. Like I don't think that like a log video recorded on a phone would be able to survive like being shot two stops underexposed with the wrong colors and things like that. Like what you would need to do to it to bring it back to like a good look would probably, bring noise and, banding and all these different things. But if you're exposed like, you know, almost, or like when I was gonna say properly or almost, yeah, it definitely helps. But the thing is, to shoot in log though, you need to be in 24 or 30, and if you want to do it in 60 or 120, you have to have a external storage attached. So then it makes the idea that your phone is like super convenient and easy to use. Like there's an extra step if you want to do that, and then yeah, the files are a bit. I'm guessing like my M1 Max was struggling with those 4K 60 ProRes coming from the phone because there's so much compression in it. And usually with any 4K 120 or whatever, like I have zero issues. So yeah, I think if you're gonna go down that line, you probably need like an M2, M3, or something like that.
So Apple got you to get a new phone, and now they're going to get you to get a new computer. See how that works? See,
Yeah, but
You
that's not gonna
got-
happen.
you're like,
Not
no,
for
no, no. I
phone
just got the
footage.
phone. That's it.
Yeah. If it was a problem with my camera got me to get a new computer, but not the phone.
It's going to be coming actually soon, right? Like, that's the thing. Every 5 years, 6 years, you got to upgrade. If you're upgrading your cameras out, you're going to have to upgrade your computer. So, like, even me, when I buy a computer, I have like a 4 or 5 year plan with it, and then I know eventually I'm going to upgrade. Like, you can't fall in love with any of the technology anymore. I have shot log on my 16 Pro before. I've been very very happy, but I shot a lot of stuff outside, so you have all that light. They don't perform well in low light. That is one of the kickbacks of it. But the convenience of having that phone in your pocket with that camera, it's a game changer. You won't miss shots anymore, especially now with you have that extra zoom. So for a parent who's filming their kid in a gym or whatever, it's pretty ideal, especially that you can zoom in and get that stuff. Now they also have a lot of stability in it too, so it makes that handheld shot a lot better also. So, and they're constantly upgrading. But you mentioned something you didn't get into about the Android users. Now, Android users have been saying like, "Yo, guys, we've had this for years. Like, Apple's not doing anything special. Why is everyone giving Apple all this attention?" Is that what your Android users wrote, or what did they write?
Yeah, well, they were specific about I think it's the Samsung Galaxy 25 or something like that. 25 Galaxy. Anyway, it's known to be, because I looked it up, and it's known to be like the best camera phone on the market. So I probably got the name wrong, but yeah, it's one of those like great camera phones, potentially the best one. So like yeah, they were saying like 8x is nothing. They get way more than that. If I was using that phone, I could probably see the hair on their head and things like that. So I actually got curious about, that'd be, if it is the best camera phone on the market, it'd be cool to test it and make a video about it. Now look at that.
Yeah,
It's
put
not
them head
cheap.
to head.
Yeah, exactly. But even though it's an Android, like it's not much cheaper than iPhone. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna. I'll have to look at their return policy. I don't know if I'm gonna buy that phone just to make a YouTube video about it. I don't think I'm gonna get the return on the investment. So
No, that's
we'll
it.
see.
That's it. Or like, like this video, subscribe, and there's going to be a giveaway with a Samsung phone at the end of this. You could do that too.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be quite a gift.
Yeah, it would be. All right. So on to today's episode, we want to talk about how to complete and edit a little faster, your videos. I was talking to you off camera a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. I had to take a trip to Toronto by train, went for the day, filmed the conference, came back, edited that whole video on the train. E was just at PWHL where you had some game day deliverables. So we thought we'd go through kind of like tips and tricks and a little bit of workflow on how to speed up your edit, but not lose any quality. Because there are some things that if you want to edit fast that you could prepare ahead of time before you actually open your computer and put in that SD card or have to start that edit. So we want to kind of go through all that kind of stuff today. And basically I'm just here to try and learn how to become faster like because all right. So let's just talk in sports. Uh, when is there going to be opportunity that you need to actually have a fast turnaround?
Well, on game day is the first one that comes to mind. It's pretty much the only one. Well, no, it's not true. But yeah, the game day is usually like, there'll be a lot of content that they want to post during the game. So some of it is edited, some is not. Some is also just literally just shot with a phone from by the social media manager. But there are some edited stuff, like for example, like the walk-ins when players arrive to the arena, or just like something about warm-up, or a lot of sponsor activations, things like things of that nature, or fans that are doing something. If there's like a fan section outside, like a tailgate thing with a sponsor, and so it's the club or the team usually, like it's in their contract. Like if, like, I don't know, Toyota is paying for all these little towels that they're giving away at the entrance so that people can wear the towel when the team scores, then in the contract, like, they're supposed to make a video about it, promoting the fact that Toyota is giving out these free towels. So yeah, there's all these little videos like that you have to produce and post during the game.
And it's important when you get to these events, when things are due. So if they say, hey, walk-ins, after the second the walk-ins done, we need that. We want to post it before puck drop. You have to know when you're going to have time and where you're going to be able to edit that stuff while you're there. So E was talking more about game actual day. So when I was on the train, I had a different timeline. I had to edit a feature, but they want to post the feature as soon as possible. So that's why I edited the whole way home. The next morning they woke up, that was in their folder. Now, since it's a feature, there's a little bit more red tape where I know there needs approval. So that's why I had my edit done as fast as possible. So then I gave them time to go over, make any changes they want, give it back to me for a revision. And my idea was that day I blocked off time to do the revisions for them. So at the end of the day, we were done. They could post the next day. So it was like conference, day off, post, which is exactly how they wanted it, And that's why I edit that way. And it is a fast turnaround because when you're doing like a 2-3 minute feature, there's a lot of more stuff going to it. I have to look for sound bites. I have to look for a lot of stuff. It's not really a lot of time to get that big job done. And in sports on game day, you sometimes have to film those features before or after a game. Like there are events all the time when you work for a pro sports team. For example, the Montreal Canadiens last month, there was there was Hockey Fights Cancer. So pre-game, there was a lot of stuff. We had one of the kids announced the starting lineup, so we had to all go down early, film the kid doing the starting lineup. Then they had kids on the ice doing a ceremony, so all those kids are getting ready. But they want all that footage filmed before, and then the edit is going to come out the next day. And then after the game, they have like usually it's like a meet and greet with all the players. So all the kids who are involved in the day, they go up after the game and they meet all the players. So that is, yes, it's not due at the end of the game, but it's due the next day. So you have to manage all
the game recaps are a bit like that as well.
Yeah, exactly. But you have a lot of footage that you film. Like, you just filmed 45 minutes before the game, 45 minutes after the game. You have an hour and a half probably of raw footage. And now you got to make the most emotional video you can. And it's not like you could just post it right away. Since there's sponsors, since there's this special event, someone's approving that video. There's going to be some red tape. There's going to be some changes. So you have to make sure you got your first edit done as fast as possible and as close to the final product as possible, because you don't want all these last minute changes. 1 or 2 changes, no problem. But if you get a list of 15 changes, well, that slows down your workflow. So that's what we want to get into, because everyone thinks like sports is like, we see it on social media. Oh, the social media manager posted from her phone. Boom, it's done. There's so much behind the scenes that you don't see, and you have to be prepared for that work, because doing a rush edit, there's a lot of pressure, man. Like you've been there, E, where you're like looking at your clock and you're like, I got 5 minutes. Okay, I'm just grabbing this shot, this shot, this shot, and that's where your workflow really comes in. So what little tricks are you using to make sure that you have the best shots when you put that card in? So let's say we filmed everything now. We're back at the editing bay. What are you looking for shot wise? Do you have music prepared? Have you done work ahead of time? What's kind of like your real world workflow?
Yeah, well, definitely music. Like, I mean, if I know I'm gonna be turning over like live edits during the game, or if I'm doing like a game recap that has to be out as soon as possible the next morning, um, yeah, I'm definitely picking my music ahead of time. Maybe even in the case of a game recap, like editing it, like putting it on my timeline. I have like my duration kind of set. It's obviously probably going to change a little bit once I actually put the footage in, but I'll have like a target. So yeah, definitely the music done in advance, my project, my folders, just so that, especially for the live turnaround during the game, like it's just, if my project and my structure, everything's already there and it's just dragging and dropping things where I need them, it's a lot more efficient than having to create like bins and waste my time doing that. Because often, if I'm shooting something, let's say for example it's the pre-game activation of some sort, it's happening at 6 p.m., but like I have to be ready to shoot the game at 7. So I can't film too much, but then I have to quickly go to the edit, boom, 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 export, send it. Hopefully the internet is not an obstacle. It's more of a friend. Sometimes it can be tricky, which it was the other night. But so yeah, so then you send it and then you quickly go back to your position and keep in mind that this is the time where everybody's moving around at the same time in the arena. So like, yeah, you don't want to be caught trying to get to your position and stuck in the crowd, and you're walking with a camera in your hands, and everybody's getting in your way, and there's a lineup for the elevators and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you have to be prepared as much as possible.
You know what? You said an important word there about overshooting. That's a skill that you acquire with time when you're a sports videographer, and not overshooting makes your edit go faster. So I'm at this conference, I'm there and no one's there yet. So that's when I'm getting all my beauty shots, the banners, the signage, the place settings, all that stuff. I'm getting all that stuff. But there's a fine line of getting way too much and not enough. And that's something that you have to feel out as you go. But if you're doing a fast edit, then don't shoot as much. You don't need as much as you want. I will take more time setting up my shot than I will just shooting random stuff. So I'll take the time and do 3-4 pans of a stage, or 3-4 pans of someone, a player in their locker room or whatever, if I only have a short edit and a short turnaround time. I rather get my shot done properly than just have a bunch of random shots. So this is something that you need to think about while you're there, and while you have a short deadline. Because
Yeah,
we've all been
exactly.
there where you overshoot. Like I've overshot when I first started. Like I had cards and cards of pregame, cards and cards of walk-ins, and it's like, yo, we only need the top 4 players. Like you got them, go. Or so and so dresses crazy every game for walk-ins. Get them, get the people you need, and get out. You don't need everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And also creating shot. Like I remember like shooting a thing where I think it was I did it both actually, at the soccer and the hockey last night, where when you walk in, when you arrive to the venue, they give you like some free things. I think at the soccer it was like a towel, and at the hockey it was like a calendar, a magnet calendar. And in both cases I had to film something about that. There was an activation I had to film, and at the soccer there was like a little car, it was like a Toyota thing where it's like a car that's bringing a toy car, like that's bringing the ball to the referee before the actual kickoff. So anyway, all that to say that like when they're giving out stuff in front of the arena, I'm not gonna stand there for half an hour just filming people and hoping to get people with the right colors on and the jersey and everything, and then get like, if I do get it, great. but I'm also gonna force the shot where I'm like, all right, can you? I'm gonna tell the promo girl or the person that's giving out these things, like, can you like act as if you're giving it to me? So I'm gonna walk towards her. She's handing it to me. I'm using the camera, like using a point of view style where I'm looking at it. Oh, this is great. This is awesome. So like this is a great shot to just open or close or both. And after that, I get a few shots of her giving it to people. Like I'm pointing the camera at her. A family is walking in. I'm getting behind her as she's giving it to people, and they're smiling. They're like, "Oh yeah, cool. Now I know I've got my shots. Boom, I'm moving into the next thing." Like I'm not waiting there to see what happens next. Like I know exactly what I need, and I've got it for that little car. Like I knew I wanted a shot of the car, like just to show the car itself. If I'm lucky, I'm there when someone's putting the soccer ball in it. But otherwise, I want to grab a shot probably way before the car leaves. Like the guy's going to be on the controller playing around, so I'll get a shot of the controller, and then I just want that shot of the car going towards the referee. The referee picks up the ball, and then I want a shot of the kickoff, and that's like my ending to that thing. So it's just like knowing, okay, I need I need the car, I need the remote, I need the movement, and I need the kickoff. Like that's pretty much like I've got my story there. And so yeah, so it's just I have these little stories in mind. So you basically for videos like that are going to be like Instagram stories. Um, you don't need more than 4 or 5 shots. So if you already know what those 4 or 5 shots are, it goes very quickly. You're not wasting any time, and you're going to the edit, cut, you're done.
Exactly. And those little close-up shots have a lot of weight. Like when you get the girl to hand you the promo piece and you're filming it, that point of view, that's a great shot. You have to plan ahead. Or even the guy with the remote control, you get a close-up of him testing his gear. No one knows that he's actually not driving it at that moment. And you bank those shots and you have a shot list in your head, because there are times when you show up to a sporting event and you have no idea that this promo is going on, and they're like, oh hey yeah, you're filming this we need you to film this promo. But the more experience you get, you kind of come up with these go-to shots. Like I've done plenty of entrances of people walking in and that where I'm doing handheld and I'm getting them handing out tickets, but I'll also set up like a action cam and get a time lapse of that. Now, I have to organize that. There's a security guard there. Hey, buddy, are you standing here all day? Yes. Perfect. Can I leave this camera here? Can you just keep an eye on this camera? Because you can't kind of just leave things. People will take stuff. So you have to be organized, and don't be afraid to talk to people walking in or talk to the people working there. Like the shot that he was talking about where he got the product, you have to organize that shot. So you can't just film always what's going around, what's happening. Sometimes you have to take a little bit of initiative, but that initiative will make your edit faster 100%.
Yeah, and like I film another example. I film like a meet and greet. So there's like 4 or 5 girls are in this sports, French Canadian movie that's about to come out this weekend, I think. And so they've got a backdrop. They're taking photos with fans. So it's like I could be there all day just filming fans, smiling and taking saying cheese and blah blah. But like I know, all right. First of all, it's going to be a story, so I got to be pretty wide to fit all these people into the shot. Um, so I do that, but like I get a photo of like, or not a photo, but like footage of 2 or 3 different groups. I get a couple shots of their partner or parent or whatever like taking a photo, and I get there was like a sign that said like meet and greet with blah blah, and just a couple of interaction, like close up interaction, like people like either signing or talking to someone. I don't know. One had like a 16mm camera that she was filming with, so a few shots of her. And I know I've got enough. Like I'm not gonna stand there and oh yeah, I'll wait for these kids because that's gonna be a cute shot. Like I've got enough. So then it's like cutting from the parent taking the photo, the kids with the celebrities, a few like funny interaction with the 16mm camera or someone making a joke or laughing or whatever, and then finish on a white shot of another photo. We're done. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
it's ever yeah. You just don't mess around.
I did the same thing at my conference. So what I did is they're handing out the badges, credentials. I set one up. Guy's coming in. He got his credential. I said, hey, do you mind we do that again? Boom. I get a close up of the lady going through the box, handing it over. I have all those shots when I cut it nice and fast. It looks really smooth. And then there was an entrance where people walk in where you have all the signage. I just set up my tripod, well, actually my monopod, and I just waited for a group to walk in. I waited like 2, 3 minutes. I got a bunch of people. When I got a nice group, bang, I flagged that shot. I knew I had that shot because you only need one shot for some of those things, and it saves you a lot of time. I don't need every person walking into that conference. You don't need every person walking to the game. You're going to show it one time. So get the good shot, know that you have a shot that will carry in your video, and you're good. You move on. And it is hard because when you're hired, you feel like I got to capture everything. You don't have to capture everything. You have to capture enough to tell your story.
That's why it's good when you're doing it for a live edit. You're kind of forced to think about it this way, where if you're just filming thinking we're going to use it later, that's when you overshoot because you don't really have a specific project in mind. So you're just shooting from all angles, and you're supposed to be there. Like often, like in your brief, it'll say from 6 to 6:30, film meet and greet with two players. So for you there for half an hour, so you're filming the two players, signing stuff, taking photos, shaking hands, kissing babies, and it's like, but then you got 30 minutes of that. It's like no one's ever going to use that. Well, not that much. I mean, yeah.
And you do feel overwhelmed too, right? When you get that list, because you're like, can I capture everything? Will I have enough time? Trust me, you'll have enough time. You'll get the shots you need. It's hard to just know when to pull the plug and walk away from that scene and move on to your next list of tasks. Now, when I have a fast edit, I actually make my project ahead of time, which saves me a lot of time, right? Especially if it's like a live edit. When I open that project, I already have songs selected. I already have some bins. So say if I get a heads up ahead of time, hey, there's going to be these activations, or like when I was at that conference, every speaker had their own bin. So when I put it in, I organize it right away. For an after day edit, you probably don't need that. It's a little overkill. But for a quick edit like that, where you're editing as you're going, and maybe you might have to make a recap of the whole thing after, having like all walk-ins in a bin, having fan promotions in a bin, it saves you a lot of time, especially if you have all those bins ahead of time. But the thing that saves me the most time is having audio already selected. Now, we were talking fast before, Ian, and you brought up a really good point. Sometimes you don't even need the audio because sometimes the social media team could add their own audio. So that's a conversation you want to have with them. Like, hey, do you need audio on these videos, or are you guys doing yourself? You want to just use the trendiest song that's out there right now that's going to get you the most views. I I enjoy editing to the music that I have that I picked, but depending on your client, they might have different issues. So a different idea. So definitely talk to them about that. But having my music is the number one time saving thing that I could do, because for me, that takes the longest amount of time, is finding the right music for that edit.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, and it's also when you pick the music in advance, it's not guaranteed that it's going to fit the mood of the thing you're actually going to film
Well,
because you don't
have
really
a couple
know. It's
choices, right?
yeah,
Obviously.
yeah. But like, but yeah, I would, like I said earlier, like I definitely pick my music beforehand, and I know that like if I'm filming a meet and greet or an activation, a sponsor activation, like it's going to be light, sort of fun type music. It's not going to be like dramatic or cinematic or something like that. So you still get a bit of an idea. But yeah, like I was telling you before we started recording, like I found like sometimes with these things, it does seem like it would make more sense to edit without music and for them to in Instagram just pick a trendy song that they like that fit, especially that like I don't work for the team and I'm not really the demographic of their fans. So they're, the social media manager who ultimately is the one posting these stories. Um, she knows what type of music that they use on their account. She knows what their fans like, the type of music that they listen to. So I'm thinking, might as well just leave it to her to put like a trendy song that's going to relate to the team, to the fans, and it's not going to be something they've used like 5 times already that week. So I feel like that's probably the best way to go. But yeah, like you said, it's a conversation to have beforehand.
Is there anything that you find that slows you down
You.
during your edit? Me? Yeah. Okay. Me. I'm calling like, E, how do I do this? No, but like everybody does get stuck in an edit. There's times where you don't feel creative. There's times where you kind of have like a roadblock. I kind of say like writer's block kind of idea. Is there anything that slows you down when you're under that pressure that maybe can help other people out there? because sometimes I feel that pressure, but I feel like I thrive under that pressure. I mean, obviously in the back of my head, I'm like, hey, let's just get this done. Let's get this done. But like having a plan really helps me. But is there anything that you find sometimes is a roadblock? For me, it's when they have like last minute graphics and stuff that I didn't know about, or even when I have graphics, like I'll ask for, is there any graphics on this? I ask for them ahead of time, and I'll try to animate them or try and just put a quick transition. Lower thirds, I always try and do lower thirds ahead of time if they need something like that. Talking heads. But is there anything that you kind of feel slows you down or could be a roadblock? Because
Well, of course, like if it's like a
we're under pressure.
yeah, well, if it's a game recap, for example, and you're waiting on them to supply commentary or logos or things like that, then yeah, you're relying on them being fast. But usually these days, it used to be that, like for me anyway, in my experience, like back when video wasn't really a big part of the marketing department, yeah, you would wait on people a lot. But now everybody understands how quick and how important these things are and need to be. So people send you stuff pretty quickly, I find, anyway, in sports. But but yeah, to me it's more, I'd say, like the things that slow me down are more like for example, like I always try to remember, and I forget half the time, but I always try to remember to bring a mouse for my computer, because like I'm much faster with my mouse than with the trackpad, which sometimes like dragging and yeah, just dragging something somewhere like the trackpad's a bit annoying when you get to the end of it and you still have to go a bit further, and it's like so it's just like it slows you down. It's annoying, and I'm sure like kids who went to school with laptops and like the trackpad's fine for them, like they're used to it. But for me, I'm just much faster with a mouse. So yeah, it's just thinking of like using the tools that makes my life easier and put me in a position where I can just be fine, fast and effective. So there's that one. Obviously, like I was saying, like internet can be a bit of a tricky thing. It's not necessarily the internet per se, but like Wi-Fi, the platform on which we exchange those videos, try to set all of those in advance and make sure that everything is good from that perspective, so that when it's time to just send the video, then it's just like drag and drop and you're done. You're not trying to log in and oh fuck, the Wi-Fi is not working and what's happening? Do you have the code? And it's working for me. I don't understand what's going on for you. And this is all like exactly what happened to me a few days ago. So, yeah, but yeah, so things like that.
He's talking all about his PWHL shoot. This is every roadblock I had, but there are a lot of little roadblocks that take up time, and some of them are out of your control. One of the biggest things that is kind of like a non-negotiable is when I get there is like, where is my workstation? Where are we working from? Do I have a decent space? I bring headphones, headset, because sometimes you're in noisy areas, you need to concentrate, and like you're under pressure. So it's like, yo, where's the workspace? I set up all my workspace, so it's done. Um, Listen, depending on what venue you're at, I don't suggest always leaving your laptop or your stuff around in that work area. Sometimes unfortunately, you got to keep it with you and you got to set up last minute. But when you're in a well secured building and a pro building, you can leave your stuff there. You don't have to worry. There's cameras, there's people watching. You're okay. So setting up that workspace and making sure that I get there early. Honestly, get there early and get set up early and be ready to go, because it's nonstop. I do actually always bring my mouse. There has even been times where I've even had my keyboard if I'm on the road and I have access to maybe a second screen. Sometimes people have second screens, stuff like that that can help you with your edit. I'll bring that too if I know ahead of time. I don't just walk around my keyboard, but there has been one occasion where I did bring, because I knew they had monitors that you can hook up with. Because some people do have workstations where you could plug in, which is very, very helpful. But that's not always the case. So we kind of went over project structures. I mean, obviously, have your LUTs ready, have your sound effects ready, have all that stuff ready. But there are a lot of hardware stuff you could do to speed up your stuff, like V90 cards transfer faster than V30. SSD hard drives, transfer all your stuff to either your internal hard drive if you have enough space, or an SSD hard drive to save you space, to save you time, because you want the fastest tech you can have for a fast turnaround. Because, and backing up cards takes time too, right? like that's depending. If you overshot, it's taking you more time to back up those cards. So if you shoot less and you shoot accurate, it's less transfer time also.
And filming with a camera apparently like speeds the process as well, because I realized with the phone, the like I was saying, like the computers have to work a lot more because they're very heavily compressed codecs, and so basically they need to decompress to play it, but yeah, when you get to the export, it shows, because for me, like exporting a YouTube video, well, depending on how long it is, but it won't take me much more than say 20-30 minutes on my computer. But and even then, I don't know, it's probably much closer to 20, if not less. But with that phone video, the iPhone video that I done recently, it was way longer than that, because yeah, because of the files, because of the codecs involved. And so I'm assuming if you're working with a phone all the time and you're editing and you're exporting, like yeah, that has to slow down the but ultimately, if you're filming with a phone, most likely it's mostly stuff that you're just posting directly, maybe editing it a bit on your phone. But yeah, to edit on a computer with phone footage often slows you down.
Well, that's where software comes in handy, right? So, for example, if you want effects in that, I would suggest downloading like a motion array template, for example, that you have already set up that you drag and drop your footage. If you're shooting on a phone, then maybe it makes sense for you to start editing in CapCut or the new Adobe Premiere for your phone. So that way you don't have to leave the platform, especially for social media managers. I would assume they would edit more on phones than they would on a computer, and it's going to come down to what you're shooting for. Like obviously us, we're shooting on mirrorless cameras, so we're going to edit on a computer, because editing a mirrorless camera footage on our phone, even if you have an adapter to put your card in, I don't feel like it's ideal. But editing phone footage on a phone, yeah, why not? Like that's what it's meant for. So know your platforms, know what your outputs are. And also one other little tip too in your project is, if they tell you, listen, we want this export in 2 formats or 3 formats, have those timelines already built in those formats. So it's an easy drag and drop. You work on one, you bring them into the other and you just resize.
Yeah, that's true. So do you have any like basically, what are the shortcuts that you use the most, that you think are like absolutely necessary to create a fast edit?
Like keyboard shortcuts.
Yeah.
So I've already said this on this show before, but I use Final Cut 7 keyboard shortcuts still. But honestly, man, like the more shortcuts you can know, the most. I mean, the probably ones that I'm using the most are like copy paste, alt to alt paste, like for attributes, stuff like that. Like blade to cut through everything. If I have multiple layers, I'll make a quick trim. Shift blade, boom, I'll cut that. Ripple deletes, obviously you got to know those. Um, yeah, I don't even know what I'm using shortcut wise, but I definitely use all my shortcuts that I know on hand. And listen, knowing your shortcuts saves you so much time. And I remember there was a time where I didn't really use my shortcuts. I'd use my menu all the time. And then I actually was like, screw this, man. I want to be faster. And I just took the time to learn all those shortcuts. Knowing those shortcuts, like I don't even have to think about them anymore. I don't even know what I press. I just know what they are. Like if you ask me to do something, I'm not looking at my keyboard and going, oh, this is a command B. This is I just know how to do it. Take the time to actually train yourself to learn your shortcuts, because anytime you go in the menu and you're not in a rush, obviously, if you go in the
You
menu,
lose.
look at that little shortcut, and memorize it. And
Yeah.
nothing impresses a client more than if you ever have the opportunity where a client's sitting beside you and you're doing it editing and you're just using your keyboard shortcuts. That's like so impressive for them, because I always got so many comments like, oh, you know all the shortcuts? Yeah. And it makes it so much faster and makes you way more productive. What do you use? Do you use the Adobe shortcuts or do you use Final Cut 7 like I do? What do you use? Or do you
I
have your
think they're
own
pretty much the same, to be honest. I think
there's a couple that are
made them
different
pretty
actually.
much by default, but I don't know. I've always used the same one, so it's probably from Final Cut 7 originally. But yeah, through the years, I think, like, yeah, like you, like it's about just the stuff that you do, like the most, like whether it's copy pasting attributes, things like that. But also just easily just changing the volume on a clip, for example, or easily separating the, delinking my video from my audio in one clip, or easily having access to the modify window where I can select the right track or add the conversion LUT on my footage, like go into the color sort of tab, or what's the other one that I do a lot? Like, yeah, having access to like speed. So just like I think it's like Command J just gives me like if I just want to slow down like an entire clip and not go into keyframes or anything. So yeah, just things like that, like easy access to the things I use the most, which is probably if I'm going to be doing like a quick edit, the only things I'm really going to play around like audio wise is going to be the volume, and video wise is going to be the speed. So like these two are the two things that like for sure I have shortcuts for, and then cutting and things like that. But with the audio as well, like I was going to say, uh playing with the volume, but also like trying to figure out where I do need audio. Because if I'm editing to music and it's just like a quick thing, I probably won't bother too much with atmosphere. But if I do have like a good soundbite, like for example with my meet and greet, like I finished on something that I had everyone saying like I think instead of saying cheese, they were saying like the title of the movie or something like that. So like I finished on something like that, but like I didn't put atmosphere throughout the entire thing, even though it was like a 30-second thing. But like, yeah, you just pick and choose.
You know what? There is so since I updated my Adobe, by the way, I'm very happy to have those film impact transitions back, by the
Mhm.
way. I
Me
didn't
too.
realize how much I missed them and how easy they are to use. But my match frame doesn't work properly anymore. You used to
Mm.
press match frame and would put your in and out. Now it just puts your in and the out goes forever.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't
Yeah,
notice.
I don't know why. I was like, well, what's going on here?
Maybe it's a
So
setting thing.
I looked it online and that it says that some people are having this issue and they're hoping that it's just going to be fixed in the next little, you know how they do the mini updates. But yeah, that was the thing. But Match Frame 2 is another one that I use a
Yeah,
lot.
me too.
But keyboard shortcuts, they just save you time. And the more that you work on a program, the more you use them, the more you get to know them. What else we got? Oh, one other thing too that makes to make your editing faster is make repeatable systems. Your folder structure, your backup structure. When I have revisions, I duplicate that timeline, and label it properly: version 1, version 2, version 3, and keep your original versions, because this happened to E and I in the past with certain clients, where you make a killer edit and they make all these changes, and then eventually they don't like their changes, and guess what? You end up going back to one of your original edits. But when I was a rookie, there was times where I didn't have those original edits anymore. I just kept working off the same one and I didn't have it anymore. So make sure to have multiple versions of your timeline if you have revisions, because there are times where you could even make a mistake and delete a clip and not realize it's there. And then you got to go back and look through all your clips, where if you just go to the other timeline, you can copy, paste it, boom, drop it in. So having a repeatable workflow, the way you label stuff, the way you organize stuff, even when the project is done, the way you back it up. Back it up with like a folder structure, dates. I have dates, like the project, the dates. Inside my footage, I have even what cameras I shot on that day, because sometimes I have multiple shoots. So this is the FX3 footage, this is the A7 IV footage. I separate it all like that too for later on, so I know where everything is. I know everything's backed up, and little things like that make your workflow faster.
Yeah, no, exactly. It just makes you just working off instincts as well. So, and with organizing is just as especially if you're keeping everything and you're building like a big library of everything you shot that year or over multiple years, like yeah, having dates, things like that makes it so much easier to find stuff. So when you need something quick, you're not trying to yeah, when did I, like, where did I put this and stuff like that. Like you can, okay, that game was that day, like I go in the folder, there it is, bing bang. But yeah, it's just, or like you said, like organizing, if you organize your projects the same way all the time, if your folder structure is always the same, it makes you much more efficient. And when it comes to exporting, you probably have some export presets as well. So it's just like your vertical video. I put my vertical video preset on it and export. You don't have to play with the bitrate and make sure that you've got all the settings right. Like everything's already taken care of. So yeah, just trying to have everything ready to go. So you have the actual, the minimum thing, stuff to do on game day.
And editing faster doesn't mean you're rushing. It just means you're editing faster because you're more efficient. And all those little steps help. And also, one last thing is explain to your clients sometimes how to download the footage, or that they need to download the footage. Because I actually had a conversation yesterday with a client who wrote me and said, "Oh, do you have the video in better quality?" And I'm like, "Well, what are you talking about? Like, it's a 4K video at a high bitrate." And then I was like, "Are you just watching it on the link I gave you?" Well, yeah. You need to download that link to get the highest quality, and then you re-upload. Oh, and it sounds very simple, but this was a marketing manager who did not know this, because I guess they always hand it off. So sometimes you have to put up with little silly questions like that and explain the process and say, "Hey guys, here's the link. Please download all files before you upload." And it's something simple like that, but it will save you time from answering that email later on.
Yeah. Or even before you watch it, sometimes they should download it, because like especially, I don't think it's so much of a problem here, but like I remember in Australia, like the internet could be very, it could be very, very bad in some areas, even though you're like in the city. So people will watch the video and think that the quality is terrible. So it's like, please download it and then watch it, because now what you're looking at is not a good representation, and it's not putting you in the right mood, because now all you're seeing is the bad quality.
Exactly. Well, I guess that's it for this episode of Game Day Glare. Hopefully, you guys make your deadlines, whether you're on a train or at a PWHL game. Fast deliverables equals trust, and it's not easy to always deliver on a tight timeline. But hopefully, some of these tips will help you guys get there. All right,
I was
take care,
hoping
guys.
you're gonna make this rhyme, but yeah.
No rhyme. I got to rhyme with speed. Speed and quality equal trust. I don't know, man. I got no rhymes. No rhymes today. All right. Take care, guys.
See ya.